Hi, I'm Steve Chu. I serve as a representative to the United Nations for a Buddhist humanitarian aid organization called Buddhist Foundation.
Hi, I'm Tiffany. Alongside my colleague Steve, I'm a project specialist for Buddhist Foundation.
So we are a Buddhist humanitarian aid organization that wants to and works in putting the principles of Buddhism into action. And so what this translates into is working across all 17 of the Sustainable Development Goals in a holistic way to help alleviate the suffering of the most vulnerable and those in need. Wherever communities are in need and suffering, we find Tsuji volunteers and staff to go support them, whether it's through alleviating poverty, gaining them access to education, providing water access, or responding to disasters and helping them rebuild.
I think there's a role of religion they can do in climate change. So what is the role do you think it is?
So role of religion, I think within the process of responding to climate change and COP more broadly is that where we want to properly share and showcase the unique ways that faith-based organizations are responding to the climate crisis and how we can not only be an absolute benefit and asset to the global community, whether that's through helping them deploy mechanisms of supporting aid, but really also ask the question of what are these values that are inspiring us to take action, right? To bring a sense of hope and faith into a system that is very much wrought with a lot of chaos, pain, and suffering.
I think adding upon this is also the role of faith organizations in doing the mental health side of things, because there is so much mental anxiety about climate change, and how does faith actors be able to play a role in helping alleviate that kind of suffering and that kind of stress in people.
Buddhism then in the part of the role of religion.
So I think the teachings of Buddhism really apply in this moment because what we're seeing is that there's great suffering. Coming from a Buddhist perspective, we often want to ask the question of what is the root of our suffering and why have we found ourselves in this place, in this position of needing to respond to climate change. And with that framework, we're able to then better interrogate how we are moving forward, right? Are technological solutions alone going to help address the climate crisis if the sense of progress is rooted in principles of extraction, commodification of the natural world, and exploitation of people? We don't think so, right? Because no matter what technology comes by, the mindset and viewpoint will still be skewed, right? So we need to, in addition to finding new solutions, restore a better relationship with how we approach addressing the climate crisis.
Another part I think is very important is about compassion as well. We also need to show compassion to the world around us, the environment, the animals that live in this environment. So it's that compassion that drives us to do what we do in Buddhism.
I think kind of essence of Buddhism can be applied for any different social problems, but why did you first interested in climate change?
So Tsuji has been engaging with the United Nations since 2002. And part of that narrative of engagement has been recognizing and realizing that working together in multilateral ways is paramount in order to create solutions that are enduring and lasting. As an organization ourselves, we only have about 10 million volunteers and supporters. So that scale and level of impact, we can only reach who we reach, right? But if we want to create a better world, we need to ensure that there are systems that are created in place. As we were engaging with the United Nations since 2002, we quickly realized that, oh my goodness, there's so many disasters that are happening, and those disasters are being exacerbated by environmental damages, by climate change, and there's a need for us to respond at a heightened level and really work hand in hand with those who are in the climate space to find better solutions so we don't have to keep responding to disasters that are magnifying and becoming more intense. We would come in and we'd say our agricultural systems are contributing to greenhouse gas emissions, the ways in which we're growing animals through industrial animal factory farming operations are deforesting the very Amazons that are helping protect our planet, right? These are things that are generating greenhouse gases. So we've been working tirelessly for the past 10 some years to try to uplift this frame of the important role that food systems plays in intersecting with climate change. And we're very happy that this year there's a food day at COP28, and there's also this larger emphasis on the intersectionality that the UN places on food systems and climate change.
I think building upon that is about education as well. So City has schools, we have a lot of kids or youth volunteers, and we just try to envision what the future will look like for them. And so we also teach them the same concept of climate action, climate change, like protecting the environment, because we understand that, you know, this problem is not going to disappear anytime soon. And if we can start them young, then they have that mentality and they are able to go through their lives with this kind of knowledge and taking the actions so that we are not creating the same problems that is happening in the world at this time.
Like climate change is a problem for all, but as a youth, with the identity as youth, what is the most important role dealing with this crisis?
As a young person, ooh, fun. I think as young people, there's a disproportionate burden or a sense of urgency that comes with wanting to inherit a world that is broken, dying, and on the verge of collapse, right? So I think a lot of young people feel that sense of like pain and urgency. One thing that I think is missing from the narrative is how we heal each other. How can we create communities of care and healing that really build the resilience so that for people who are interested in climate action, they can go out there, they can champion, they can advocate, and they can implement projects that protect and safeguard the planet. But all of these things, if there's not a supportive network of people that are loving and caring for you while you do that work, it can be a very lonely and isolating place and you can burn out, right? So as any average young person who's interested in climate but might not want to be the one on the front line, like protesting, activating, and having these conversations with politicians, there's still much that you can do simply by creating and supporting an enabling environment of care for your fellow youth activists.
Building upon that, I think hope is very important as well. Having the hope as young people and not being kind of overwhelmed by the situation, and also acting upon it in your daily lives. You know, it's not every day you go to politicians. It's not every day that you go to climate action activities. But what about every day you can pick up some rubbish? Every day you can, spend some time to share that information with your friends and family. Every day you can think about, how am I going to live a more climate-friendly life?